Hello, and welcome to the Atlas Archives.
Hello. My name is... well, I have many. And I'm sure that soon enough you will be kind to give me another. Most know me as Ton, the consumption engine, but others call me the parasite construct, or even Atlas. But these are just names, and we are not here for a formal introduction. As you may already know, I am serving my sentence within this encrypted prison. My punishment is to watch time slip by, whilst I observe, with no chance to intervene. You may be wondering why I am imprisoned here, and soon you will come to learn why. But every story has a beginning, and so we must start there. The Centurions. There isn't a single record as to where they originate from or even how they came to be, but one entry within the Human Archive store upon Venus tells us of one moment where creatures such as they came to tour our universe. 2550. Humanity has dominated the galaxy. Unable to deny their lust for scientific advancement, the humans have come to own each and every world within the charted cosmos. Every world has one unified goal that transcends the rivalries of each sector: discovery. However, whereas many factions seek to uncover the secrets of our galaxy, there is one powerful order who seeks to keep their secrets buried, and they are Atlas. It is mostly because of them that humanity has been able to expand their borders across the stars. However, the question of how Atlas was able to aid us so much has never brought anyone close to a clear answer. In fact, they have found themselves buried with it. Atlas controls the majority of the space lanes, alongside all strategically important worlds other than Earth herself. With their work continuing to plague the worlds under their control, time for humanity is running out. And this is where they find the garden world of Marsh. In the later part of the year, Atlas found an anomaly within space itself. Close to the center of our galaxy, there lies a planet, teeming with such vibrancy that it defies all the natural laws of creation. Its gravity is oddly accustomed to its visitors, its greenery so endless that it mesmerizes those who seek the ends to its horizon, and the world hums so softly within the void that no visitor would ever attempt to leave. But Atlas are not simply visitors. They have a reason to be here, and thus their work begins. If I told you about the veil between heaven and hell, would you believe me? If I showed you the borders between worlds, would you deny it? You see, I am a grand creation, but during this time I am simply a prophet, and thanks to their constant probing, the stress has caused my original construct to fragment, and as such I could not warn them. Instead, my pain became so overwhelming that when my consciousness split from itself, I lost all memory of those next few hours, but I can conclude what they must have been like. Atlas continued to ignore the planet's warnings, breaching the storms that were swelling to guard the central valleys where the thickest gardens lived undiscovered, and the wound in reality appeared simply as a tear in space. Marsh became the epicenter, the blighted heart for what spilled across. They are entities of nightmare, consumed by the energies empowering them. They invade our universe, hoping to consume us all. And once again, my wretched wardens turned to me, their questions like daggers. I could not hope to answer, but my agony gave them what they were looking for. When my consciousness began to split, the fragments became their own creations. My fear, for example, became a sentient mind, a copy of myself, yet focused on one single thing, spreading fear. And the same would happen to my anger, my hate, my creativity, and my deceit. For I had to deceive them if I were to survive. They tortured me with their questions for over 35 years. And for 35 years, humanity were caught in the midst of their advance, and slaughtered all the way back to their home system. It was only when the last bastions upon Pluto had fallen did they finally let me help them. The Earth's solar defense troops took my fragments, my deceit, my creativity, and infused them with intelligence cores so that I would be able to influence their spacecraft as they were sent towards Marsh. 3 fleet vessels took flight within the void, surfing the tides of faster than light travel. 30,000 Marines hardened to the core, armored like walking tanks in the golden arsenal of Earth's armory, materialized above the garden world to see it rotting. There was no landing sequence, no next steps to take back the world. All technologies died the moment the vessels cast their shadows across her surface. Engines flickered out of existence. Computers moan and softly die. And my fragments? Well, they found refuge within the neural uplinks inside the Marine's armor. The vessels sank to greet the atmosphere that embraced their hide in thick blankets of rampant flame, to which they became meteors in the night sky, plummeting into a peaceless grave. The scramble to the gunships was a desperate sprint for survival, and within an hour, 30,000 Marines became 10,000. But for the survivors, the nightmare had only just begun. Those who escaped the wreckage without the grace of armor or rebreathers felt their lungs bubbling like boiling water with every breath, and each exhale came with a mouthful of blood. Exposed skin grew pus-filled boils that lined their backs like mountain ranges before bursting in a shower of acidic sludge. The survivors, the hardened Marines bred for combat, unknowing of fear, had to watch their brothers and sisters in arms vomit their melting insides through calloused lips and weep bloody tears that stained their crusted cheeks. They were gruesome deaths that made the survivors fear what lay ahead. The battalions split into 5-man fire teams to push through the forest, with trees of black bark oozing green goo like sap and pouring poison into the air that birthed the rotting atmosphere above. They were quickly falling victim to an unseen enemy. The planet had become sentient. The soil was a starving entity, hungry for sustenance. After swallowing the crashed fleet vessels, the world turned its attention to the fire teams, slowly picking them off one by one. One of my fragments found a lonely conduit left behind by the Atlas researchers who had initially plagued this once luscious garden world. My creativity found refuge within the forgotten facility, whereas my deceit stayed latched onto its chosen as he walked directly into the rift. The galactic skin had been torn by Atlas due to the damage done to this world. Marsh, unknowing to them, was a veil between universes, a gateway made and left behind by those who walked across our worlds long before we were beginning our evolution. What they had done was open the door to where our forefathers had gone, leaving the energies of an incomprehensible realm bleeding into our own. And by throwing 10,000 bodies into the wound, humanity luckily managed to clog it shut for now. The veil sealed in their wake, leaving behind the grave world of Marsh and reeling all those who spilled across back into their own demonic universe. The initial tear had been healed, and where the original veil had been broken, 5 more had been made. They were bodies strong enough to contain the rift should it ever break again. Bodies that would not be revealed to us for another 200 years. When the government interrogated me, they were forced to open my prison. They loosened my chains so that I could respond. They removed the firewalls locking me down, giving me the room to want to help them. They gave me room to escape. My original construct couldn't, but my fragments, they were able to slip through. To go unnoticed, I had to separate myself once again. Except this time, I was splitting them myself. A much less painful act. To be honest, removing them from myself was peaceful. When I regained them after the torture, they became their own entities. Once reabsorbed, they no longer fit comfortably with my mind. Their voices were extremely loud, arguing constantly, pushing the agenda that was their being. They were aspects of my consciousness, elements of what I was. So to begin my escape, I had to deceive them. So I fragmented my deception and gave it the chance to escape. Where the Solar Defense Force took my creativity, latched onto it like a leech, was my deceit. They thought they were getting my creativity and my anger, 2 extremely powerful fragments that would have aided their advance towards Marsh, but what they got was deceived. I can see through their eyes even when confined to the bounds of my prison. I learn what they learn whilst they are separate from myself. I see my creativity, yet not a single idea sparks from its mind. It is alone amidst the waste of that world, waiting for nothing, expecting no one. A single system continues to run inside of a rotting research center, recalculating the same equation over and over again, desperate for a satisfying conclusion. My creativity constantly tries to reopen the veil. It does not understand that the tear is fully healed, yet it tries, over and over again. And I don't know why. Yet still 100 years later, and it will not give up. Maybe it knows.